Good evening, SRA Nation, and welcome to Season 14. Plus, you've got qualifying, then the main 1 hour race. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Sim Racing Alliance. And this is where it all counts. As all eyes go to the light, and we are racing.
He brakes late, almost takes out the car ahead of him.
He's getting a tow, a flash.
Argy right on the exit, rear end squiggle. Who's going to get the move done here around the outside?
Oh, dang!
Byron ran it so shallow there, and this has become a 4-car battle. Game of inches as the BMW is in the paint.
And we're off and away for SRA.
Hello. Oh, my background isn't working. Anyways, hello SRA Nation, and welcome to the penultimate round of our Season 15 Division 5. It's going to be a fun race. Today we are in South Africa at Kyalami. My name is Trey Morgan. I'm your host for today. Unfortunately, Stephanie had to get bumped up to D1. And apparently I'm experiencing a lot of dropped frames, so hopefully that'll fix itself before too long. But until then, we are looking good for tonight, I hope. But it should be a fun race once we get to it. So we're going to, like I said, we're going to be at Kyalami today. So we are into the penultimate race. Next week will be Monza, and it will be a lot of fun. But for right now, we're just going to worry about Kyalami, which is a track that I assume most people haven't raced at. I know that I hadn't raced at it until today, or until this week, and I won't race at it still until about tomorrow. But we're going to be watching our D5 drivers drive it today, so it should be a lot of fun. So Kyalami is a track kind of similar to last week in Laguna Seca, in which it has a lot of different corners that all come at you very quickly. But the key difference for today is there's a lot of places where you can actually overtake. So the key overtaking zones, at least in my mind, are going to be turn 2, turn 6, turn 8, possibly turn 13. And then maybe we might see something into the final corner of turn 16, but we will have to see. But it's not as corner as it was last week. So we should see a lot of fun battles. I know that last time, or maybe not the last time we raced here, but one of the times in the past where we raced here at Kyalami, we went 5 wide into turn 2 on lap 1, and everyone survived, at least turn 2. They didn't survive later, but we will hope that we can see that kind of survivorship today. But like I said, we'll have to see. Our drivers have been doing fairly decently lap 1s. We've not seen too many big pileups. Of course, as I'm saying this, that probably means that I've jinxed us, so if anything does happen, feel free to blame me. But yeah. Looking at our driver standings for right now, Cliff Hemian has a very good lead out here. Right now, it's about 80 points to Sig SVG in P2. And then P3 is right behind them in Nolan Witt. P4 is right behind them in JP May, P4 is Neil Leader, and then P5 is JP May. They're all doing really good this season. Sig SVG joined a little late, if I remember correctly. I could be entirely wrong on that, so please, yell at me in the comments if I'm wrong. But he does look to be doing pretty good today. We'll go through my predictions here in a little bit. But P6 is Juicy Jake. At P7 is Andrew Duong Bonglio. P8 is Cameron Thibodeau. P9 is Austin Thibodeau. And then P10 is Brad Garman. And again, a lot of good drivers here. No one has really pulled away. Cliff Hemian being almost 80 points ahead does kind of mean that he almost has a race gap to Sig SVG. So it will all depend on these last 2 races. As long as he can keep getting good finishes, I assume he'll win out, but we'll have to see. For our silver championship, excuse me, we have Cameron Hastings in overall P15, but P1 for the silver. And then P2 is Emil Garcia. P3 is Glenn Jacobs. P4 is Gershty Speed. And then P5 is Ben Van Loo. The silver drivers have all been very competitive for the most part. We've not had anyone since everyone got promoted stay in silver and like keep winning races, but they've all been toward the front of the pack. So I'm expecting to see them to stay at least mid-pack this race, and that should be good. Looking toward the team standings, we have a Ferrari out front right now. Juicy Jake and Neil Leader are leading in Red Eel Racing. They're doing an amazing job right now. P2 is Yellow Subs Racing with Cameron Hastings and SIG SVG. They're doing very well. Of course, 2 races ago, I think it was, Cameron disconnected from P2. He should do really good today, though. The McLaren seems to be doing really well at this track. P3 is Box with the brothers of Austin and Cameron Thibodeau in the Mustang. They are all, those 3 teams, 60 points apart. So really, it's anyone's race. It all depends on who has a really good race or who has a really bad race. P4, we have Andrew Duong Bunglio and Stefan Pellerin in Apex GP with the Lexus. And again, they're within 100 points, so still doing really good. And then for P5, we have Potato Performance with Brad Garman and Zach Watt in the BMW. It is looking to be a really good end to the season, I think. As we saw in the driver standing page, SIG SVG, he's close to the front of the pack in terms of points. He's P2, and he's really close to that P1 point. So I do expect him to do pretty well, and it will be a championship fight all the way to the end. But I'm interested to see who you guys all think in the comments. Believer's going to do really well today. I know that we have the obvious fan favorite of Josh Parker with his entourage seemingly watching just about everything happen. So hopefully he's able to do well today. And then, as Lisa Dodson mentioned in the chat, we are sending all of our thoughts and prayers to Jacob to hope that his internet actually works today. He's had a lot of issues the last couple races with just getting booted in the middle of races, and that's not what you want to see whenever you're racing like this. You know, because you come because you want to race, and you get through qualifying even, and then you start the race, and it's just not very fun to get kicked out like that. But for now, we are going to move on to qualifying. Our silver drivers are out on track. They are doing their out laps currently. The first driver in line is Cameron Hastings, our, I believe, silver leader. I just said it, but I'm going to pull up the stat sheet again in my off screen, so give me one moment. Yes, Cameron Hastings is our current silver leader. So they are looking to do really good today. They are in the top 4 in terms of pure lap time. Now, of course, who can do the fastest lap does not determine who's going to win a race at any given point, because, you know, while qualifying is very important at these tracks, it is not the only thing that is important. So we are going to get ready to watch a lap. We're going to go ahead and go on board here just so you guys can see what a lap looks like as we watch Cameron Hastings. So we have just now passed the pit exit there on the left-hand side, and we are going through turn 1. It's just a little kink to the right, no big issues. And then we go and come into the first hard braking zone of turn 2. It's a hairpin. It's a lot harder to brake for than you would think, just because you have to get really tight, and you immediately have a right-hander of turn 3 next to it. Turn 4 and 5, are really spaced close together and they're very awkward, you want to get as far right as you can for turn 5, but the corner setup really doesn't let you. Turn 6 is a corner where you kind of have to brake forward, but not really. You just kind of have to trail brake through the entire corner and then hope you get on the gas at the correct point, so you can wash out wide just enough to hit the outside curb, but not so much that you hit the grass. And then here we are going up the hill toward the hairpin, the second hairpin. This hairpin will be the end of sector 2. Again, it's another really hard corner, not because of the corners after it, but instead because of the fact that the turn before it is a blind hill topper, and so you have to start braking before you reach the crest of the hill normally. So it's hard to get it right, and if there are any issues into the hairpin, you're not really going to notice until you've already reached your braking point, and so you can't really stop if there's someone ahead of you. And then this is the last hard corner in my mind. It's a corner called Cheetah, because if you're doing it right anyways, you're not supposed to brake for that corner. You can do a tiny little brake, like just as you're hitting the apex to help you rotate the car, but if you brake any more than that, you're going to lose a lot of speed. And if you hit that inside curb, I don't know if you saw it, but there's a yellow sausage curb on the inside. If you hit that curb there, then you will get sent flying, and it will ruin your lap, and if it's in the middle of the race, it will ruin your race. But for now, we are... Oh, speaking of ruining laps, Cameron Hastings had an oversteer moment through the exit of turn 5. So he will have to make his way out and do another outlap. So we're going to switch to watching Jacobs here. Yeah, so this track is a lot harder than what the track map there on the right side might have you think, because there's a lot of corners that you have to set up just perfectly. Of course, that's with every track, but there's a lot of places where you can go over the limit a lot easier than you would hope. Speaking of going over the limit, Jacobs clambers over the inside curb there of the second hairpin. He did not get a good exit out of there. He's down a second on his best lap time, but he's also invalidated, so not the worst thing. The current driver improving the most, though, is Jonas Scheel. He did a 146.4 on his last lap, so kind of just an install lap with that speed, but he's currently a second and a half up on that time. And that would put him into the 144s. So as long as he's able to keep it, he's looking good. The other driver improving on their already established time is Emil Garcia. And once we finish watching Scheel go through the lap, we will pick him up. As Hopkins sets a time, as does Dan Thibodeau. Scheel going through the final corner. It's more than a 90-degree corner, despite what you might think going into it, so you do have to hold off on getting on the power a little bit more. Scheel sets a 144.9, so very good job there. But Garcia is looking to overtake him. He had a 145.2 on the board, but he is 1.8 seconds up. Now almost 2 seconds up as he goes across the line and he jumps to provisional pole. So a very nice lap there of a 143.292. So an amazing job there. The reference time for D5 is a 142.8. So for those of you who don't know, since we have our racing league divided up into divisions, we separate those by speed, kind of. Hopefully that would be obvious, but as a part of that, we have reference times that we expect our drivers to meet if they're in that division. And that'll change based on every single lap, and it's more or less, you have the fastest lap time possible, you have your expected lap time for your SRA aliens, which are the guys who are just so fast, they're too fast for D1 even. They're still in D1, but we classify them as aliens because no one can really get close to them. and then you have a percentage difference for each division after that. But so like the alien time for this track is a 139.8, and that is an absolutely insane lap time. If any of you hit that time while going around Kyalami, you deserve every kind of gold star you can imagine. But we're not expecting these drivers here in D5 to go that fast. We're expecting them to hit 142.8s. Of course, you can go faster than that, as Cameron Hastings goes to the top of the time with a 142.72, an amazing lap there. Kind of expect him to be toward the front, like I had mentioned before, but he still has at least one more lap, maybe two. But most of our drivers are hitting that reference time. About half of our drivers hitting that reference time of a 142.8. And then we only have one driver who's actually gotten past our D5 reference time to match D4 reference times. And that is Sig SVG, who is our gold driver, or one of our gold drivers, and the teammate of Hastings here. So we'll have to wait for him, but Cameron Hastings is putting on a show. He's currently not improving, so we will come back to him later. One man who is improving, though, is Dan Thibodeau, who is currently 0.8 up on his best lap. Now, that would not put him to pole, but that would get him close, as Emil Garcia has spun off. We're going to show a replay of this here. So this is through the middle of Sector 2. So I'm not quite sure what corner that is. But it is like that middle section on the left-hand side of the track map that you see there on the right-hand side, as Dan Thibodeau goes to provisional P2 with a 143.14. So amazing job there. And he's already improving on his last lap, so he does have more to give, as Cameron Hastings set a new fastest lap of a 142.375. And that, I believe, is faster than his personal best time on the practice sheets, and it is by about 0.2 of a second. So he's going fast here, doing an amazing job. And he is, well, he was improving. He's not anymore, but he still does have a chance. The biggest improver right now is Brian Acombe in the Boatley. Correctly called the Bentley, but his team is I'm in a boat, or I'm on a boat, so I'm gonna call it the Boatley for right now. Yes, in the comments there, Big SVG is one of our commentators. I believe he's commentating D2, if I remember correctly. I could be mistaken on that, so please correct me if I'm wrong, but he is a fellow commentator, so if there's anyone I'm going to commentator's curse, it's him probably, because, you know, he knows how to dish it back out. But Brian Acombe coming to the line here to finish his lap. He got a pretty good exit, and he should finish pretty good. And he does. He improves his lap time, not by much, but he does. And then I believe our last driver out on track right now is Bertram, who is currently 0.5 up on his last lap. That would put him to about P5. If he can hold it, he gets a pretty good last corner exit. He will come to the line, and he will get to P5, so an amazing job there. So that is it for our silver drivers. Cameron Hastings is our provisional pole leader for the silvers. But right now, we have our gold drivers out on track. And our first driver out on track is Duong Bonglio. Gillian, I believe it's Gillian Trump saying D6, so my apologies, I threw him too high up. But again, he is a really good commentator. He did a short stint with us in the off season just to kind of see how he wanted to do stuff. And it was a lot of fun with him, and so we brought him in as a full-time commentator. And he's been doing great ever since. as we see someone going off there in the background. I believe that was Cameron Thibodeau. It was. So this is what I was talking about earlier with Cheetah. So the inside corner of Cheetah has a really big yellow sausage curb, and you can see him hit it there, and he just bounces. If you hit it harder than that, you can get airborne. Now, hopefully we don't see too many people get airborne today in this race, but definitely in the middle of the race, it would not shock me. Now, but for right now, we're going to go on board with Andrew Dwangbanglio. He is just now going through turn 5, but we will go on board with him for the rest of this lap, just to kind of see how, if there's a big difference between a gold driver and a silver driver in taking the track. Yeah, so through that last corner, you could hear how he wasn't really changing his engine revs, and that's because, like I said before, you're not really braking through there. You're kind of just, you're not quite coasting, but it kind of feels like it because you're not accelerating, but you're not braking either. Dwangbanglio does an amazing job there through the end of Sector 2. A little bit hesitant there on the brakes, though, for the hairpin. Not entirely sure why. But it's probably just because of that late braking zone. I've been told that I can turn myself up in the volume settings. So I will turn up my volume for myself. Hopefully you all can hear me a little bit better now, but we'll see. And Dwangbanglio going through that last corner, and he will come to the line here in just a moment to set a provisional lap of a 144.365. That is good enough for P7, but it is just a banker lap, so I would expect him to go a lot faster by the end of this race, or by the end of this qualifying. But Hemian does an amazing job there, Cliff Hemian, to go P3. So good job there of setting a 143.177. He is the fastest of our first laps for gold drivers. I would not expect that to stay the fastest, but we will have to see. Also, going back to the volume, if anyone has any issues with me being too quiet or my ACC audio being too quiet, please tell me in the comments. And hopefully I will be able to fix it. If nothing else, I can just move the microphone closer to my face and we can get some ASMR going. Currently, Cliff Hemian... Oh, I'm sorry, I missed it, but Lorenzo did jump up to P2. And apparently I still don't have his livery. I don't know if he's not uploaded it or if I'm just not doing stuff right. He is currently improving. But I'm going to go down to Josh Parker here, since we have some Josh Parker love here in the comments. His first lap was a 144.875. So not the best, but he still does have a lot of time to improve. He has at least, I'd say, 2 more laps plus the one he's currently on. He's currently about 7/10 up on his last lap, and that would put him closer to the top 15, but we'll have to see. Meanwhile, Dwangbanglio had jumped up to P2 with an amazing lap of 142.7, but then SVG immediately jumped him by 0.8 of a second for a 142.7. So very nice job there by SVG, and I do expect him to get pole today. Like I said, he is the fastest man in the timings, so we'll have to see what happens to him. As Parker jumps up there, he is now P16, and he is already improving on his last lap, so he will have a good shot of improving further. Currently, our biggest improver is Austin Thibodeau. He has only gone through Sector 1, but he's already 0.4 up on his last lap, so that could put him in the top 10 if he's able to hold it. And while I maybe don't expect him to hold this exact gap throughout the whole lap of about a 0.6 gap, I do expect him to find more time later in the lap, especially with Sector 2, or Sector 3, excuse me, being a lot of straight line speed, and that's where the Ford really gets good, is in that straight line speed. We're gonna follow him through the Sector 3. Sector 3 is probably, it's got the least amount of corners, I think, but it's probably the trickiest set of corners, because this corner here that we're going through, I don't know if it has a corner name, but it's a long corner that you have to brake very, not heavily for. It's weird, because essentially it's kind of like the snail corner in China, where you're continuously braking through the whole corner to set up a good exit. As Austin Thibodeau will come across the line with a full second improvement that jumps him up all the way to P5. So a very nice lap there. We're going to now switch to Nolan Witt with Gout. I really hope not. It's an unfortunate team name, but you know, he chose it, so. But he is currently 5/10 up on his last lap. That will put him about P10 if he can hold it. We did have a yellow flag for Garzozi as Witt jumps up to P11. I'm just going to check and see what happened here. So he hit Cheetah too, but a very nice save there. He kept it going straight and he got on the track again, as Gilchrist also has a yellow flag. And I'm not sure what happened with them. We'll go ahead and watch it here. Just an oversteer moment, and he goes into the marshal post. Thankfully, all of our marshals are make-believe, so no big issues there. But we're going to move back to the front to watch SVG. Him and Lorenzo are doing very good right now. Lorenzo jumped up from P7 to P3 and is already almost half a second up on his best lap. Sig SVG is about 4/10 up, now almost 5/10 up on his best lap. Now back down to 4/10. That will put him into provisional pole, just about edging his teammate by 6 hundredths of a second, not thousandths, hundredths of a second. So very nice job there to jump up to that provisional pole. Lorenzo still on his lap. Cliff Hemmingen did jump him for P3, but not far enough. So as long as Lorenzo's able to hold this lap, he will hold probably, if not pole, at least P2 or 3. He's about 4/10 up on his best lap. I don't think he'll get pole, but he will jump to P2 by 3/100ths of a second, 2/100ths of a second, depending on how you want to count it. But an amazing job there. Also, I just missed it, unfortunately, due to Lorenzo, but Juicy Jake improved by, I think, about 6/10 of a second to P5. As Lorenzo has a yellow flag. So we're going to jump to the helicam here. That is Lorenzo's lap done, unfortunately. Yeah, he has an oversteer moment on the exit curb of turn 2. Thankfully gets out of the way before anyone else gets in his way. Or he gets in the way of anyone else. But that is his race, or that is his lap done. Sig SVG also had a yellow flag moment. And of course I failed to catch it, unfortunately. But he did have a yellow flag moment. I'm not entirely sure what it was. Now we're going to go ahead and watch Cliff Hemmingen here. As he comes across the line, he will not improve his position, but he will improve his time by just a little bit. Currently, no one is improving on the rest lap. No, excuse me. Juicy Jake is just about improving, or he was. He still has a chance to improve his lap time, but I'm going to... Nah, we'll stick on him. Why not? He comes through the final quarter and does not get a good exit, unfortunately, and so that will be him stuck in P5, but still an amazing job. Nolan Witt going through the last couple corners now. He's about a 10th up on his best lap, but he has to find probably another 10th if he wants to jump Sebastian Rock for P8, and I don't think he will. He will get a better time, but not a better position. And then our last driver out on track is Garzozi. He gets about a 10th and a half up on his last time, and he will jump 2 spots to P17. So an amazing qualifying. But here is your top 3 with Sig SVG on pole, Lorenzo down by 2.5 hundredths into P2, and then Cameron Hastings right behind his teammate in P3 by only 8 hundredths of a second. So we have a very tight top 3, and it should be a very tight race. But we're going to go ahead and get in a word from our sponsors, and we will be right back.
A huge thank you to our SRA sponsors and title sponsors for supporting us here at SRA, as well as support from Documise, a modern business solution for product management. Go to documise.com to learn more today. And support from Retro Saga, a North American-based gaming company that provides accessories for your favourite classic systems, including Nintendo, Sega, PlayStation, and much more. Enhance your retro gaming experience today at retrosaga.ca. And a big thank you to our affiliates, Track Racer. Experience redefined gaming with Track Racer's high-quality sim rigs and accessories. Use code SRATE at checkout to support us. Armamentario, a toolbox for ACC that will enhance your chance to win. Enjoy a fully customizable and enhanced HUD to change the way you experience ACC. AT3D Sim Shop. Upgrade your sim racing experience today with premium 3D printed accessories featuring precision crafted magnetic shifters, sleek cable management solutions, versatile stream deck mounts, and immersive dashboard displays. Their innovative designs enhance performance and style, elevate every lap with top-tier quality and craftsmanship at at3d.net. Go Setups, premium esports setups for everybody. Use our affiliate link on our Discord and take your drive to the next level. Castle and Cauldron, a home-based crafting business specializing in handmade Harry Potter, Fantastic Beasts, and Fairy World collectibles. Magic wands, potions, mini dioramas, wall decor, costumery, cosplay, and much more. Castle and Cauldron is where crafting meets the magical. Visit facebook.com/Castle Cauldron. And from KP Concepts, your source for custom automotive renderings, graphic design, and printing. We spend countless hours making you look all good for the spectacle. Check out kpconcepts.com for more.
Oh, that's the wrong one. All right, hello. We are back, and we have a new voice in the commentators box with Ian Byron.
Ian, we are
Ian
back.
Byron.
It's all good. So, yeah, I've been at D3 this whole season and doing the commentary over there. And just gonna pop over here for the vast majority of this race. I did promise my boys I'd go back and check on them. But yeah, I'm excited for this one. I have spent many seasons in D5, probably more than the average. I think it was 5 seasons in D5. Pinnacle of SRA is the slogan from years ago.
Yeah, I spent 3 races in D5, and that was about it. But we're going to go ahead and get through with our driver grid walk here. Sig SVG did an amazing job to get pole position. He is P2 in the gold standings, so hoping to get a win here today to possibly get to P1. Raymond Lorenzo is our P2 driver. He is not in the top 4, I don't think, but I could be wrong on that. Cameron Hastings is our current silver leader and Sig SVG's teammate, so again, looking very strong. Cliff Hemian is our P2 driver in the gold standings. He will be hoping to get past at least Cameron and Raymond to hold on to that lead of about 70 points, but he does not need a win. Well, I'm sure he would prefer a win, but I don't think he needs it. P5 is Juicy Jake. P6 is Andrew Zhuang Bonglio. P7 is Austin Thibodeau. P8 is Sebastian Rock. P9 is Nolan Witt. P10 is Dan Thibodeau. P11 is Glenn Jacobs. P12 is Emil Garcia. P13 is Ian Gilchrist. P14 is Brad Bertram. P15 is Stefan Pellerin. P16 is Neil Leader. P17 is Havit Garzozi. P18 is JP May. P19 is Brian Acone. P20 is Mike Cook. P21 is Cameron Thibodeau. As we see someone spun. And I believe that's JP May. No? I don't know who that is. That's Andrew Hopkins. Oh, no.
Place to spin there.
Yeah, he was probably trying to get enough, trying to get back up, but that's a lot of damage. He's going to have to pit almost immediately, probably. But Jonas Scheel is P23, and then Josh Parker has a pit lane start. And I'm not sure why. I don't think he had a penalty, but I could be wrong, I guess. But either way, that's really unfortunate for Andrew Hopkins, but we are getting ready to go. We are just now getting to the lights. Sig SVG will hopefully have team orders with his teammate right behind him, but we'll have to see as the lights go green and we are off and away. Looks like about even start for Sig for the top 4. We are beginning to see 3 wide down in the middle of the pack. No big issues yet.
Wide.
Yeah, we are 4 wide, a little bit further back. But everyone looks mostly clean. We have seen 3 wide. There's an accordion effect there, just a little bit ahead in about P10. We are 3 wide into turn 5 multiple times.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, a couple of people going off track there, but we are doing surprisingly well.
Get D5 showing out for me.
Exactly. Yeah.
Glad I could join. So yeah, Sig stays in the lead, but his teammates just behind him.
Yeah, Hastings did get past Lorenzo, probably due to the inside line through turn 2. But they have already gotten a significant lead of almost over a second. Well, it had been over a second, but Cameron Hastings had a little bit of an issue. Not sure what it is exactly, but we will go ahead and... Whoa, a little bit of a look there, but nothing too big. Ian, I know that you were a little bit close to the start, but we've seen a clean lap 1. How do you expect the rest of the race to go?
I expect only the best from D5. I mentioned it earlier, but the pinnacle of SRA racing is D5. I think that it's always a good show, and I have not been keeping up with them this season. I don't know how respectful they've been, but I do know from the penalty sheets, D5 stayed pretty clean. It seems like D4 gets the bad rep. I don't know why.
D4 got the bad rep for a very good reason. So.
Very good reason.
Yes.
Yeah. So what are your catch me up on some of these drivers? I'm trying to look at the standings, and it looks like Sig and Cameron are in P2 in the team standings and within reach of P1, and so they're in good shape. I think you already mentioned the gold drivers. Cliff's just there. Kind of got a decent gap. What about silver? What's going on down there in silver?
Yeah, Cameron Hastings has been doing a very good job this season in silver. He's had connection issues as someone spun. Give me a second. I need to pull this up.
Bertram?
Yeah, Brad Bertram.
Ooh,
oh, I'm
just cooked it.
Yeah, looked like a little bit of a dive there on Cameron Thibodeau. Doesn't look like he has too much damage, and Cameron Thibodeau did keep going straight, thankfully.
That could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, that could have been. Hopkins is in the pits to repair his damage, so hopefully he's able to get that taken care of fairly quickly, but trying to go 55 minutes on the same set of tires is not going to be fun.
So I'm looking at silver. Hastings and Garcia are 1 point away from each other in the standings. Cameron Hastings is P2. Emil Garcia is P15. So this might be a silver championship deciding race.
Yeah. Like I was trying to say before I get interrupted by a yellow flag, Hastings has done an amazing job this season. Back 2 seasons ago, or not 2 seasons, 2 races ago, apologies, he was 1-2 with Sig SVG like he is in this race. Where did we race 2 races ago? I don't remember.
Oh man, there was Laguna last week.
Was it?
Before Laguna was Hungaroring.
Hungaroring, yeah. He was running P2 at Hungaroring and got disconnected like 5 or 10 laps into the race. So it's not surprising that he's out with his in front with his teammate. He does have.
I hope he has a good result tonight, just for that reason alone.
Yeah, we've had a few connection issues in this division, unfortunately. I think Jacobs is still here. Yes. The other person who's had issues with connection is Glenn Jacobs. I really don't want to jinx him, so I'm not going to talk too long, but we are sending our hopes and prayers to him and his internet connection.
I think I used all of my commentators cursing at the D3 qualifying that I was calling before I jumped over here. I killed 2 people in Cheetah just by calling out how good of a lap they were doing. So I think D5 is safe for me. Now I'm not sure. I'm not sure how much cursing you've done so far tonight.
I managed to not do. Well, speaking of cursing, Hastings, I don't think. Would that be called a curse? We were talking about how good he's been doing.
I don't know. I think if he doesn't disconnect, we haven't cursed him.
Yeah, I think I managed to say mostly okay. As there's a little bump there between Lorenzo and Hemian. I think I managed to say mostly okay through qualifying, but we'll have to see. But Hemian has lost 2 positions down this straight.
Yeah, I was gonna say that Lexus made 2 Porsche passes, I think.
Yeah.
If I noticed that correctly. Oh no, just 1.
No, it was 2 because Lorenzo and Hemian were both behind him.
I see that. Yeah. Oh, as he goes wide, this is gonna mess him up for sunset.
Speaking of going wide, Glenn Jacobs has had an issue. I'm not entirely sure what, but I'm instead going to come back here and focus on Sheila and Parker. So I'm not sure what happened there. I didn't get far enough back. I will.
So Dong Bonglio side by side through the S's here. Loses out 1 spot to a Porsche. They've touched the grass, I think, 3 times so far this lap.
Yeah, so they are definitely under pressure. A little behind them, Nolan Witt has fallen all the way down to currently 14. He's going to lose P15 probably. Ooh, a little bit close there from Garcia into the hairpin, but an amazing job to not hit them. But unfortunately, I think Nolan Witt will lose that position. Yeah, as you were saying, Dong Bonglio is feeling the pressure. As we learned very easily in the first 2 races. Oh, there's more contact. I said we both jinxed them, or at least we said that they were going clean through like the first few races, and then this happens. But yeah, so that's Glenn Jacobs and I believe Stefan Pellerin with the issues there. They do both manage to get going, but they are both near the back of the pack, unfortunately.
So let me check. Do you remember what pole time was?
The pole time was I believe a 143.
42.3.
42.3.
Yeah. So I'm just trying to look at. They're about a second off of that, which is I would say expected. With full fuel. So Sig's got fastest lap, and it was his last lap with a 143.3. Otherwise, everyone else is mid 44s, 45s, 47. I think there's some in the back that are in the 44s, but our race leader is running away with it. He is already almost 7 seconds ahead of Hastings behind. I mean, he's going to drive himself all the way to D4 and race tomorrow night, too.
It could happen. You never know. He has been really fast as of late. The last 2 or 3 races, he's kind of not quite run away with it. Because I know that last race at Laguna Seca, we had a very nice end of the lap battle, but there have been races where SVG has just run away with it at times. So I do fully expect him to be at least D4 for the next season, if not farther ahead.
Yeah, Don Bonglio trying to get creative on a move here, but just has to slot back in.
Yeah, not able to use his Lexus power there to get past. Of course, as I tried to say earlier, the Lexus is the king of speed. We saw that in the first 2 races of the season at Paul Ricard and whatever the other first track was. I have great memory.
So yeah, Paul Ricard was a big one for the Lexus team, which I am a proud member of. Although Sector 3 is just impossible in that Lexus. You do get the benefit of the long straight, but anyway, I think next week's race at Monza is definitely going to be a more advantage just because of how many long straights there are, and it'll be easier to hold a lead or set up for a pass. But at Kyalami, it's not a Lexus track. I think the BOP's a -40 on it, so it's not too far off the pace, but it is not easy here in the Lexus.
Yeah, the Lexus has great straight line speed, but questionable turning and horrible brakes. I know you can talk to that a lot better than I could, but
horrible brakes, it's the worst. But you love her. You just can't help but love that that old girl.
Yeah, I know how bad brakes feel because I'm driving the McLaren this season. Obviously not quite as bad as the Lexus, but
yeah, not too far off though. But you have this wonderful thing called downforce in the McLaren. So Sunset is, and I've just had my camera on Don Bonglio here with you, and yeah, Sunset is a tough one in the Lexus. Just with no downforce, you just have to be just perfect with your inputs. As we'll see here, this is the corner he's coming up on with a Mustang behind, which the Mustang's got fairly good. Even with the BOP adjustment with the minus, I think the restrictor plate is what, 20%, and then a little bit of weight loss. It's done pretty well.
Yeah,
I know not a lot of people picked it, but I think it fits. It almost levels it out, if that makes sense.
Yeah, the Mustang was definitely way too fast before we had the restrictor plate on it, so I both understand why everyone chose it last season and also why everyone jumped ship from it this season. But it most definitely needed to be nerfed because, as both I and my brother can attest to, it didn't matter how close you were to the back of a Mustang at a corner exit. If you didn't get a perfect exit and they didn't have some kind of exit issues, you would not get past them on a straight, no matter what.
Right. That's right. Yeah, I think it was a good adjustment.
Oh no!
So they forced it too wide. He forces it too wide.
I believe that was contact there between Hastings and Hemian. Hemian looked to do a little bit of a late dive there. Unfortunately, we were in the wrong camera angle to see it properly. So we will have to let the stewards kind of decide what they want to do with that. But either way, Hemian has gotten into P2 and is now free to try and chase down his P2 rival. Gilchrist had a yellow moment. He lost 2 positions to Dan Thibodeau and Juicy Jake. I'm going to see if I can see what happened. Oh, just an oversteer moment through turn 2. Unfortunate there. I don't know why, but the McLaren just doesn't seem to like turn 2. Trying to get back on the gas, it could be with all cars, and it just, I'm only driving the McLaren, but it just really doesn't seem to like the exit of turn 2.
Yeah, that one's, it's about the entry line, getting it set up right, and just patience on the gas. You just can't just stab at it. You gotta let the car grip up. Lexus is pretty loose anyway, so I know your pain. It is a tough one to get an exit on. I think the Porsche is probably a lot better in there with the weight on the rear end.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm watching. Sorry, I'm watching Dong Bunglio again on Hastings. They went side by side for a minute, and one of the drivers was drifting.
Yeah, thankfully they did not try to go side by side through Cheetah, that penultimate corner. You are able to do it. I did it twice in our multi-class mayhem races, so it is possible, but not very fun.
So we have a few early pitters, which is super interesting.
Yeah, so we have 4 pitters, I think it is, right?
They have. Sorry, I just noticed they have longer time stopped. So I think they were damage fixers.
Yeah. I know that Hopkins was definitely damaged because we saw him and his unfortunate moments in the formation lap. And then I know Parker had issues in the into the final corner. So I would assume that's why they pit. I'm not sure where the issues with Glenn Jacobs and Nolan Witt came from, though.
So Thibodeau down in P16 is looking racy on leader, which is in P15. I thought I was going to see a send on that, but he's going to just slot back in.
Yeah, they were really close behind for a good chunk, and they've kind of started to back off a little bit, but they are getting to the back of this train with Gilchrist, Acomb, and Cook. So we could see them try something here in the very near future.
So Acomb in the Bentley. The Bentley's got pretty good top speed. That is not the line. Whatever that is. Sorry, I can't see my screen. I'm not running the pip tonight, but yeah, I've got to stop jumping around, getting distracted.
I do it all the time whenever I'm not host, so I completely understand it.
And who was that?
Neil Leader. So Neil Leader has gone into the pits again. Very early pit stops. I know that the track is going to get cooler toward the end of the race since we are at dusk, but I don't think it'll get cool enough to the point where we can really see that. As someone, Emil Garcia has an oversteer moment, or they go off anyways. I would assume it's an oversteer moment. Oh
no.
So they were looking up the inside of, I believe that was Gilchrist or Garzosi. I'm not 100% sure, but whoever it was that they were fighting had a moment ahead of them. They tried to go up the inside, and then while trying to take avoiding action, they just took too much curb, I think.
That has serious implications for the Silver Championship.
Yeah, Garcia. Oh no! Stefan Pellerin has gone off. Hopkins also has another yellow flag.
Hopkins is just cruising pretty slowly. I'm not sure what if he was just letting a car by, maybe.
That's very possible, especially with how long of his early. Oh no, he did have a slight oversteer. He did keep it
Hastings
straight.
And Bunglio
Yeah.
They just swapped spots, and both of them drifting through Cheetah right now. Wide from the Lexus. The Mustang nailed that line. Let's see what happens. Run down to turn 1. We mentioned the restrictor plate on the Mustang, so it's not going to have that massive top speed advantage, especially on the McLaren that's in the toe of the Lexus. Yeah, we don't see much of a position or a gap change there.
Yeah, so not quite able to do anything there, but we've seen Hemian making a few mistakes here and there, so it's definitely not out of the question for him to get past him. Now, how soon he'll get past him, we're not sure, but it definitely could happen at just about any time. And a little bit farther back here, Juicy Jake is about 2 seconds back on Dan, or not 2 seconds, 0.2 of a second back on Dan Thibodeau. And we are going through the section. Oh no, I missed it.
Hastings. Yep.
Yeah, Hastings got past Dong Bunglio.
It might be 2 spots lost here. Nope. Closes that off.
Yeah, trying to go side by side through the end of Sector 2 can be very challenging. we're gonna ride on the wing here of Hastings just for a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think this is a long enough run for that Lexus to really get the advantage unless Hastings just cooks it. I think Don Bunglio's got to hang on for, I think it's turn 14, whatever the last corner is. Just
turn
hang
16.
on, open that up, 16. And as Hastings touches a little bit of grass, this might be a good opportunity for Don Bunglio to, he's got a clean exit. Oh, as we see somebody closing the pit lane.
I believe that was a cheetah incident.
Juicy Jake?
Yeah, that is Juicy Jake. So I believe...
Juicy Jake.
Yeah, unfortunately, I do believe that's a cheetah incident. Out front, Don Bunglio does not get the run on Hastings, which is kind of surprising. I would have expected that with how close they were.
I agree.
So amazing job by Hastings to keep the Lexus behind him. And that's really the last chance, not the last chance, but the last good chance for the Lexus up until probably after the hairpin to get a pass on. Unless there's a mistake, obviously, but we would hope not to see that. But yeah, we do have this 4-car battle for third place will probably go on at least through the pit stops as we see Sebastian Rock have a moment. So going good through...
Ooh, that was a weird spot to lose traction.
Yeah.
Just too much curb, I guess.
Yeah, so the inside of that curb is very bouncy. I would assume...
Just Honda thing.
Yeah, it's just Honda things. I know that I've been able to catch it in the McLaren, but in the Honda, that would be incredibly hard to catch.
Alexis doesn't even notice
Oh,
it.
no!
Oh, as we see a little bump there, ACOM on the McLaren of Gilchrist. ACOM is waiting for Gilchrist to get back going, and Gilchrist is trying to find an opening. Oh, ACOM, this is tight.
Yeah. Almost a moment there between ACOM and Garcia and Bertram, but thankfully nothing happens. As we see Bertram have a very big slide there. Thankfully he's able to save it. Looking a little bit ahead, JP May was about 2 seconds back from Cameron Thibodeau. He has since backed off, but Cameron Thibodeau is looking on Mike Cook. And he is right behind him.
Sliding it. So 38 minutes to go. I think we're in undercut territory at this point. We may see some drivers wanting to come in, especially the ones that are caught up in trains, not quite able to get passes done.
Yeah.
As we saw Thibodeau come in earlier. I believe? No, sorry, ignore me. Who is our lead driver that is pitted so far?
Our lead driver to have pitted is Neil Leader.
Never mind. I thought I saw one of our top 10 people come in.
Not yet. Although, especially with our train here out front with Hastings, Don Bunglio, Austin Thibodeau, and Lorenzo has fallen back a little bit. I would expect Don Bunglio and Thibodeau to start pitting soonish. But we have a new fastest lap here. We're going to go ahead and give a little bit of love to our guys up front. Cliff Hemian has set a new fastest lap of a 143.300, which is 300ths faster than SIG SVG's best lap. So,
yeah, kind of a boring race for our top two, right? Pretty healthy gap from P1 to P2, and then another 5 seconds back to P3. Which, speaking of P3, Hastings and Don Bunglio again within a tenth of each other.
Yeah, it looked like a little bit of weaving there in between turns 4 and 5, or sorry, 5 and 6. Not entirely sure if that was Don Bunglio just trying to mess up Hastings, or if Hastings moved in a way that Don Bunglio didn't expect, but he did not get the pass done. And he didn't try anything dumb, so we thank him for it.
Yeah, I just kept the replay on my side, and no, I think it was just good defense from Hastings. He kind of parked it not quite on the outside, you know, leading into sunset, and Don Bungleo just had a little bit more speed, was trying to get around, wasn't enough for him, so he lifted.
All right. Always good to see good defense. But this track through, like, it's mostly just through Sector 2. But, oh no!
Way too much curb at Cheetah. And that's going to lose Hastings 1-2 spots.
Yeah.
As we see Renzo come into pit.
A very nice job to keep it straight. I know that at least when I've done it, if you hit that inside curve in the McLaren, it's very hard to save. But we do have one of our leaders pitting in Lorenzo.
Yeah, so big pit stop here. If Lorenzo can have a clean stop and come out in a pretty good window, which I'm not sure if he will. It looks like he will, looking at the track map. Set some good laps, kind of get a 5-minute head start on the cars ahead that hopefully are battling, are going to lose time to him. But he sees a good improvement.
Yeah, I would definitely expect Austin and this three-car train here to lose time to Lorenzo. And with the track cooling, it started at around 30 degrees and we're down to 28. I do expect the tire degradation in the second half of the race to get at least a little bit better. So the undercut is probably the move.
Per usual, right?
Yeah. Although I've had conversations with people saying that the overcut is actually more preferable, which I don't agree with, but it's basically just due to tire warm-up.
I mean, if there's no cars on track near you, sure. So like if I'm P1, P2 tonight, I'm gonna go right at the 30-minute mark, or even maybe a little after, because you've got the cushion. But you know, I don't think if I'm in a train, I'm not gonna just wait and lose time just to pit later.
Yeah. Speaking of pitting, Hastings has now pit. Just a little bit behind them. Cameron Thibodeau.
Bumping. Oh, I sat through Cheetah.
Oh. We're gonna pull up a replay here. Cook went a little bit deep into the corner, tried to go side by side through Cheetah, and then, yeah, just a little bit of a bump there. So we'll be interested to see what the stewards have to say. As Bertram had a little bit of a yellow moment. I assume it was a Cheetah incident, but he keeps it going straight and is now into the pits.
The good news about having an incident there, if you don't just completely die, is you can turn it into a pit stop. You don't have to get back on track with your hot tires, dirty tires. The time that you've lost getting back on track, you would lose anyway coming into the pits, slowing down. So it's not a bad move if you can control it. Just go ahead and take a pit stop, especially this time. Was it 32, 33 minutes to go?
Yeah, so we are reaching that halfway point. About a little bit more than half of our drivers, I believe, have pit. Or it's about halfway anyways, so we will now begin to see how these strategies pan out. As we watch JP May and Cook and Cameron Thibodeau battle it out, I was just about to talk about the gap to that the leaders have between each other, but Cliff Hemian is trying to go for the undercut, so he's pitting at 32 minutes. And he will try and hope that his better tires can cut down that gap to SVG. Before he pit, it was about a 2-second gap. Or a 5-second gap, excuse me. So he was cutting it down, but maybe not fast enough. As we see JP May try and make a move on Cameron Thibodeau, does not make it stick though.
Yeah, so SVG's last lap was a 44.6, 1.3 seconds slower than his best. He's losing time. I don't know if he's going to wait 5 more laps to pit. If he waited 5 laps, that 5-second gap might, wither away. So as long as he comes in the next 5 laps, I think he's safe. barring any large incidents.
Yeah. So SIG SVG still does have a commanding lead. It was 5 seconds to Hemian, but it is now 12 seconds to Andrew Duong-Bonglio, who has quietly been having a very nice race out front ever since the initial chaos with Hastings. He is still kind of in a battle with Austin Thibodeau. They're about a second apart, but they've been staying at about that 1 second mark for a while now at this point. But you were talking about that clean air. Cliff
Oh,
Hemian.
Sig comes into the pit.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you. Sig
Go
is
ahead.
coming into the pits.
All right, so SIG SVG is coming into the pits. We will continue to watch Cliff Hemian. He does have a lot of clean air out ahead of him, but he is also now fighting with Cameron Hastings, who he had cleared by a good margin before the pit stops. So we will continue to watch this battle here as we wait to see where SIG SVG comes out. Yeah, Hastings looking to maybe make a move. He's about 3/10 back, but not close enough to try anything.
Yeah, Hastings' tires are warm too, though, so there's a certain amount of confidence on this first lap, for the first 2 laps.
Yeah. So SIG SVG is now coming out of the pits. Hemian is just now getting ready to go through that last corner.
Yeah, so Hemian lost 6 seconds to Hastings through the pit lane.
Wow,
That explained it.
that is a big gap there.
Yeah, and Sig with the same loss time as Hastings, which honestly neither were perfect. We've got some that were 2-3 seconds faster than all of our top drivers.
So a mysterious, very large drop in time.
Oh, we got drive through.
Oh no!
Drive through. Is that Thibodeau?
Yeah,
Speeding?
that is Cameron Thibodeau with a drive-through penalty. I would assume that since he's just now coming out of the pits, that would be a speeding penalty, but I know that the big speeding penalty is stop go 30, but I don't know what the small speeding penalty is or if there is one.
I think so. I've never gotten a drive-through from speeding. I've gotten stop go 30s, but in fact, I got a stop go 30 last week for speeding. This isn't about me though. I do know that the pit entry is a little tricky here. It's not as, I would say, not as bad as Laguna, my opinion. But it does come up really, really quick. You're exit a Cheetah and you're already kind of shaking up a little bit, and then all of a sudden you got to brake for the pit speed line. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see some stock go 30s.
It looks like someone, I believe that's Hopkins again, has had an issue through Cheetah, as Parker is also, well, there was a yellow flag for Parker, but I'm not sure why. But yeah, like you were saying, the pit lane here, since it's right after Cheetah and you're not supposed to break through Cheetah, it is very hard to make sure that you don't have any mistakes there. But also, don't feel bad about making it about yourself. If you're not telling stories to get through the slow parts, are you even a commentator?
I'm just laughing at the most McLaren thing you've said is about not breaking through Cheetah. The Lexus, you have to break in Cheetah. You can't not. It just will not turn. So
Yeah.
and honestly, that's when you're racing, it's sometimes tricky because the McLaren driver might see some brake lights on a Lexus and freak out. So
excuse me for me being a downforce elitist, apparently.
you are absolutely. As we see one Lexus come in there, Thibodeau.
So both Dan Thibodeau and Stefan Pellerin are both into the pits. Gilchrist is also into the pits. So that is throwing off all of my timing here at the front of the pack. But
Yeah,
our
we're only
two...
gonna see 4 people
Good.
left, right?
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. We're
No,
only
no,
going to
you're
see
good.
4 people left that still need to pit, and we're at 26 to go.
Yeah. Yeah, so only, like you were saying, only 4 drivers left to pit. 2 of those are Andrew Dwangbanglio and Austin Thibodeau. They are currently going up the hill to start the hairpin. And I'm a little surprised that neither of them have hit. We were talking about the undercut and how we kind of expected these guys in that train, or at least some of them in the early train that we saw, that P3 battle, to pit to try and overtake some people. And these 2 guys have gone for the overcut. And I'm surprised that both of them have, because I would have expected at least one of them to have pit by now.
Their last laps were 2 seconds slower than Lorenzo, who's got the fastest lap right now, which was his last lap. So, yeah, you're not going to make up 2 seconds as we see Thibodeau come into pits.
All right. We spoke it into existence.
That's right.
Yeah, like you were saying, Lorenzo set the fastest lap, and he's, I believe, the first drivers into the 142s during the race anyways, with a 142.675. So he is flying. He's about 6 seconds away from Cameron Hastings, which is our provisional P3. Definitely still has a chance to catch back up, but he will have to put in the work.
Yeah, I think you might see Hastings and Hemian heat back up a little bit later. Similar last laps, both of which were their best laps. So tires are getting turned on, you know, a little bit of fuel's gotten burnt off.
Yeah, they're about 8/10 away from each other right now. Not close enough to try anything, but definitely close enough to start making them both think about how they want to attack each other again.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm Hemian, I'm playing it safe. I don't care if I lose that B2. That team championship's on the line.
Mhm.
Right now, they're in a great spot, like huge spot. Even if it's P1, P3.
Yeah. And like I said when we were in the intro before you joined me, Cliff Hemian has a 70-point lead to SIG SVG in the gold standings. So even if he just gets a P3 compared to SVG's P1, it's unfortunate, but it's not the worst. So you don't want to be fighting with Hastings so hard that you fall into the clutches of Lorenzo behind you, or even worse, have a wreck between you two. So I do think that if it really comes to blows, he might think of that championship, and I don't think he'd let him by, but I don't think he'll fight quite as hard just so that he makes sure he saves his race.
Yeah, you got to play it safe. You always got to play it safe for the team championship if you can. But I think I'm gonna hop back over and check in on Cube because it looks like Seth's internet died and he's now by himself. So I'm gonna try to share my time between D3 and D5 tonight.
All right. Well, thank you for joining me. It's been a lot of fun having you in the booth, and hopefully we're back to normality for our final race next week. But either way, good luck.
Yeah, and just let Mr. SVG know he needs to slow down or he's going to go straight at D3 at this rate.
I will tell him you said that.
All right, see you, bud.
See you later. So yeah, that was Ian Bryan, or as I accidentally called him, Ian Bryan, because, you know, I'm dumb like that sometimes. But he is one of the main D3 commentators, so if you like hearing him talk about stuff, go ahead and go up and watch D3, but after D5, don't leave yet. We still have another 22 minutes of this race, and it will be a fun last 22 minutes. As I believe it's Esqui Bernal, please correct me if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. I can pronounce your last name pretty well, Bernal, but he's said that Garzozi is up 7 spots to P8. Once we get to the closing stages of this race, and once, well, all of our pit stops are already done, I believe, but except for one, But once we get to the ending stages of this race, I will be shouting out our biggest movers of the race. So make sure that you stick around for that. Hopefully that thumbs up means that I've pronounced his name correctly, but if I'll just call you Bernal. I think that's safer for me. But yeah, so now that all of our pit stops have shaken out, we have a few battles here. The main one that I'm watching right now that is on screen is Sebastian Rock, both attacking Mike Cook and also being attacked by Nolan Witt. Nolan Witt has had a very unfortunate few races. I know that when we were at the Hungaroring, of course, as I speak about him, he goes deep, but when we were at the Hungaroring, I believe it was him who went off in the closing stages of the race and bottled, not quite bottled, but he had an incident where he went off through the final chicane and was not able to secure his top 4 finish. But the closest battle right now is Juicy Jake on JP May. That is a McLaren in front of Garzosi. Sorry, yeah, he's fighting Garzosi, not JP May. But yeah, that is a McLaren in front and a Ferrari out back. As someone has a meatball flag, I don't know if y'all can see that. It was on the left-hand side of the screen. We will probably see it again here in a moment. But I'm not sure who that is. More likely than not, it's just a, whatchamacallit, a bug. At least that's what I'm hoping it is, because I don't see any damage on Juicy Jake, and I also don't see any much damage anyways on Garzosi. There's a little bit of damage on the front and the right side, but he looks to be mostly okay. So hopefully that no one has to pit for damage, especially this late in the race with 20 minutes. As Neil Leader has a brief yellow flag moment. I'm gonna go back and see if I can figure out what this is. There were 2 people with yellow flags, with Neil Leader and Sebastian Rock. It could, oh. All right, so it's just netcode issues. Just netcode issues, so nothing to see here. But a Juicy Jake is still close behind Garzosi. He is in the slipstream, but I don't think that this run down to turn 2 is long enough. He will keep him looking in the mirrors, but he will not try and... No, he will try an attempt. He got on the gas a lot earlier than I think Garzosi was able to. Now, he wasn't able to do anything about it, but he did make him think. And that's what you want to try to do. Most of the time when you're racing someone in front of you, not all of the time, but they will do a very good job of staying relatively consistent if you're not super fast compared to them. And so the way you want to overtake somebody is by making them move out of your way with your mind. You got to play mind games. It's a very hard thing to do properly. I'm very bad at it. But it is something you can learn. Meanwhile, here toward the back, we have Nolan Witt, again, still fighting with Sebastian Rock and Mike Cook. However, they have also caught up to Neil Leader out in front of them. Somebody is still having a meatball. I'm going to assume that's a, that's definitely a bug. But while we're watching this fight, we do have another fastest lap. SIG SVG a couple laps ago set at 142.467 to just about edge away that fastest lap from Lorenzo. So SIG SVG is definitely pulling away with this win. Cliff Hemian has kept his provisional P2 and is about 4 seconds up from Hastings in P3, so I don't expect Hemian to lose any more spots. But we will have to see. Meanwhile, Rock and Witt were side by side for a moment. Cook still does keep out in front, but we do have a good fight on our hands. A little bit ahead. Juicy Jake is still about a half second back from Garzozi. If I see anything happening with them, I will pick it up. But yeah, we do have a good race going here. And with this battling out here for P12, Emil Garcia is kind of getting in. He was about 0.9 seconds back. He's now 1.3 back. So we're still looking to see if anyone can make an overtake. Juicy Jake got really close into the final corner, so we're gonna go on board with him and see if he can get it done here into turn 2. And of course, with Garzozi and Jake going so fast, they are just behind Dan Thibodeau. Juicy Jake getting a little close there to getting hit. Thankfully, no contact. Does have an oversteer moment though. And the last of our pitters has come into the pits, so Andrew Dwang-Bunglio is now into the pits to take care of it. There on the left-hand side, you can see Andrew Hopkins. He, like we pointed out before, he's had a kind of unfortunate day, so we won't focus on him. Instead, we're just going to watch this battle for P11 between Neil Leader, Mike Cook, Sebastian Rock, and Nolan Witt. They've stayed within about a second of the guy in front of them for about at least the second half of this race. So they've been doing a very good job of not running into each other. I hope I haven't jinxed it. Now I'm looking out front. Dwang-Bunglio is now coming out of the pits. He will fall down to at least P6. Or at least it looks like he might. Austin Thibodeau there is the current P6. Oh, that was a good save there by Dwang-Bunglio. An unfortunate oversteer moment, but he keeps it straight, and he is still really close behind Austin Thibodeau. If he's able to get his tires fired up, which will be a harder thing to do because it's 27 degrees on track and you only have about 13 minutes to go in this race. But if he's able to get his tires fired up, he will have a really good shot at overtaking Austin Thibodeau. Meanwhile here, back in this battle, Sebastian Rock has gotten past Mike Cook, as Mike Cook has an oversteer moment. Keeps it out of the wall, but he has now also lost a position to Nolan Witt. He is beginning to fall back into the clutches of Emil Garcia, but nothing yet. His tires will be really warm, so probably a better shot or more chances for him to make mistakes. Not that we would hope that, but it is still possible. So yeah, the other big battle, other than this battle for P11, there are two of them right now, with Brian Acombe fighting with Ian, I believe it's Ian, yes, Ian Gilchrist, in that Lando Piastri's McLaren. Love that team name. Also love the livery, LP Racing. Based, I believe, off of the McLaren F1 team. Brian Acombe looked to try to do something into that corner, but went too deep, unfortunately. But we're going to go on board here with Acombe. Also, fun fact, the Bentley is a right-hand drive car. I was going to say it's the only right-hand drive car, but I don't know that's a fact, so I'm not going to say it. The one thing that I do know, though, is that Bentley is really fast. Not able to get close, unfortunately, to Gilchrist. Gilchrist does go a little bit deep into the corner and misses that apex. So Acomb will have a shot here into turn 6 here in just a moment. Yeah, he got a much better exit there. So trying to get alongside, but too far back. Meanwhile, oh, I came to it just in the wrong time. Emil Garcia and Mike Cook come together. Mike Cook was trying to get through Leader. Leader, I believe, had issues because he lost now 3 spots to JP May, Nolan Witt, and Sebastian Rock. And I think Cook, oh, he has more issues. So yeah, Mike Cook, with those really hot rear tires, is going to have a lot of issues trying to stay on track, but I believe he just braked too hard in an attempt to not hit Neil Leader in front of him. I could be wrong in that statement, but they have now fallen behind Gilchrist and Acomb. And so now our previously 5-car battle for P12 or for P11 is now a 2-car battle between Sebastian Rock and Nolan Witt. I'm going to try and go back to see if I can get what happened with Leader here. I don't think I'll be able to, and I won't. So apologies for this missed replay. I did not go back far enough to see what happened with him. Instead, what I will watch up here is Havit Garzozi. It's either Havit or Havit. But I know how to pronounce the last name, Garzozi, doing a really good job there to catch Dan Thibodeau with the pressure of Juicy Jake behind him. Leader, sorry to jump around, but Leader is getting passed by Garcia. Yeah, Garcia holds that line. I think Leader has to have some kind of damage now at this point with how much he's been losing spots. Or it could just be, he was also one of our early pitters, so it could just be that the tires are going away at this point. But for now, as I was trying to say, Garzozi has caught up to Dan Thibodeau, and so we do have a battle for P7. Looking a little bit further out front, Lorenzo has kind of caught Cameron Hastings. He's about 2 seconds back, 1.8 seconds back, depending on where you are in the lap. His last lap is faster, and his fastest lap is faster than Cameron Hastings. So we could have a battle for the last podium position here. As Lorenzo goes a little bit wide there. So anyway, as I promised, I said I was going to go over our biggest movers of the day. And so I will do that. And we have 2 big movers so far. So one of them was the aforementioned Garzozi, who is currently up 9 positions. Now he is again in a battle for P7, so he could gain another position, he could lose a position to go down to 8, but either way, he's been doing a great job this race. JP May is up 8 positions to P10, so an amazing job for him, and he's not too close to anyone else. He has Sebastian Rock about 2 seconds behind him, so he might lose a position, but either way, an amazing job. And then the only other person to gain more than 2 spots is Dan Thibodeau. Dan Thibodeau gained 3 spots from P10, so an amazing race so far, but he is under immense pressure from 2 cars behind. So it's very possible that he loses 1 or even maybe 2 of these spots. So we'll have to keep an eye on that as the race goes on. We don't have really any other big movers, but our biggest mover in terms of percentage points is Cliff Hemian. He went from P4 on the start to currently sitting P2. He's been doing a really good job. He's not been fast enough to catch Sig SVG. He's still about 11 to 12 seconds back, and unless Sig SVG... No, I'm not going to say that. Never mind. You all know what I was going to say, so. The one car who does have some damage, though, is Stefan Pellerin. Not entirely sure what happened, but he's got what looks to be some major damage on the rear and the right side of his car, and also the front of his car. I don't know if you can see it, but his bumper, yeah, hopefully you got a pretty good shot there, but his bumper is not having fun there. It looks like me from last week. As Ian Gilchrist has a yellow flag moment. Acomb was not really near him, so it's not contact. It's just an oversteer moment. And he hits the inside wall. No. We do also have another yellow flag moment for Josh Parker. That is not a safe rejoin, man. So yeah, he gets onto the outside grass of the hairpin, tries to get back on track, but does so just in front of Juicy Jake. That will unfortunately likely be a penalty if that gets reported, but we will let the stewards decide that. But as I said, the only on-track battle so far is Stefan Pellerin versus Neil Leader for P14. I do believe it is a tire issue at this point with Neil Leader. Like I said, he pitted... I can look at the stats, actually. So yeah, he's run these tires for 40 minutes so far, and he still has another 5 minutes to go. So those tires are probably not quite dead, but they're very close to it. Now, Ferrari is very good on its tires, but not that good, as Stefan Pellerin goes to the inside, not outside, inside. Gets a good run out of turn 2 and will keep that position. As I'd been talking about with Ian before, that Lexus is fast in a straight line, so it's not at all surprising that he got past the Ferrari. The Ferrari has very good aero, but it doesn't have a good engine. It has one of the worst get up and goes, I think, out of any car. I could be wrong on that. Their starts, like their race starts, are very bad due to, I believe it's turbo lag. I could be wrong on that. I just know that they don't have good race starts. Meanwhile, looking out front, we had expected Lorenzo to maybe catch Cameron Hastings, but instead, Austin Thibodeau has caught Lorenzo, so we have a battle for P4. And this is a straight fight for P4. Austin Thibodeau not close enough probably here this lap to try anything, but he will have 2 more laps to try and make an overtake. Meanwhile, further back, his teammate and brother in Austin Thibodeau is going side by side with Mike Cook. He's trying to switchback maneuver through the hairpin. He gets a better exit and he will have the toe, so as long as he doesn't lose it on the grass, and he almost does, but he keeps it straight, so as long as he doesn't do anything dumb through the next few corners, he should be good. He does not try an inside move through this corner here, through the, not the penultimate, but the second to last corner. He will have a really good run down the main street as long as he gets a good exit through the last corner, though. Of course, he is in a teammate sandwich, though. Glenn Jacobs and Mike Cook are both teammates, and he does not get a good exit. Looking out front, Juicy Jake has a yellow flag moment. Looks like just an oversteer moment. Yeah, so a little bit too hard on the brakes. Went again into that Marshall post. So that Marshall post is not a good place to be. Unfortunately, we're going to have to leave this battle here at the back to watch Austin Thibodeau and Raymond Lorenzo. Austin Thibodeau gets a really good exit. No, he doesn't. Lorenzo gets a good exit. Onto this back straight, or front straight, whatever you call it. I know what I'm talking about. So he will not get a move down into turn 2. However, Lorenzo took a very shallow line into that corner that will compromise him slightly through the corner. but not enough. Austin Thibodeau still half a second back. Lorenzo a little bit wide there onto the grass, but I don't think it'll be enough for Austin to try and move into turn 6. Austin Thibodeau getting a really good line through there. Despite that looking wide, that is actually the fastest line as long as you set it up correctly. Austin Thibodeau bumping over these curbs here, trying to find a way to get by Lorenzo. He will have an okay shot here into the hairpin. I expect he won't try anything into it, and he doesn't. He's a little too far back. So he will again try to get past him in Sector 3. That car in the bottom corner that we just saw is Cameron Hastings. They are only 3.5 seconds back from him, but not close enough to really try anything. Meanwhile, SIG SVG out front. We'll give him a little bit of love. We've not seen him much on camera today, but he is currently starting the last lap of the race. Hemian just now passing the pit straight. So we are on our final lap. And this is likely the last good opportunity for Austin Thibodeau to make a move on Lorenzo. He's a little bit closer than the last couple laps, so as long as he gets a good tow down this front straight, he will have a decent chance. The Ford, since its update with the restrictor plate, does have a lot better brakes just because it's had less weight. Doesn't get enough on the run down though, so I don't think he'll really have a chance to get past. He might have a chance here into turn 6 again. We'll go on board again. Austin Lorenzo has a little bit of a moment, a little bit of a Porsche moment, but I don't think it's enough to let Austin through. And it's not. Oh, but that might be. Lorenzo goes wide. Oversteer moment, but he keeps it. Austin Thibodeau had to back out to make sure that Lorenzo didn't hit him, and that will be very important. While Lorenzo's tires are probably very hot at the rear now due to him sliding, he's still ahead. This is one of the last good shots here for Austin Thibodeau to make a move. He doesn't try anything into the hairpin because he thinks he'll have a better chance into the second to last corner. But of course, it all depends on that tow, and he is too far away, I think, to get a good tow. He will try on the brakes to get closer, but he won't get closer enough. He will have a really good exit, but Lorenzo with a really good positioning. Meanwhile, out front, SIG SVG has won the race. Cliff Hemian does an amazing job to get P2. Cameron Hastings will get P3. But we are down to the line. Austin Thibodeau almost got a really good exit there, but Lorenzo parked it on the apex and he will secure P4. Austin Thibodeau P5, Andrew Duong Bonglio P6. So an amazing job to keep that P4 by Lorenzo. Our P7 driver is going to be Dan Thibodeau. Coming across the line now. Followed fairly closely by Garzozi and Juicy Jake. Followed by Sebastian Rock, Nolan Witt. If I can find Nolan Witt. All right, Nolan Witt. Emil Garcia comes in at P13. Stefan Pellerin 14. Neil Leader will come in P15. Acomb P16. Ian Gilchrist P17. Mike Cook P18. Cameron Thibodeau P19. And then Bertram, Jacobs, Scheel, and Parker will round out our race. But again, SIG SVG ran away with it with a 12-second gap out front. So an amazing race by him. Now, I'm going to get a quick screenshot of this so I remember who to pull into the interviews. But yeah, that was an amazing race. We had a last-minute battle, almost a last-minute pass into the final corner. So, an amazing race overall. I would ask Ian, if he was still here, how he thought the race went. But I think what he saw was really good. I know what I saw was really good. But we will now go ahead and wait a little bit for the drivers to get into the booth or their post-race, and we will begin pulling them up. So yeah, give me 1 second. I'm going to make sure that Hastings is ready to come up. I think he is. So we will go ahead and pull him up. Hello, Cameron, and welcome to the booth. Amazing job on your P3 finish. Are you there? Well, he might be here. It says he's offline.
Okay, I'm alive.
Oh, there
I wasn't
he is.
ready. I was switching off of my VR.
Ah. Well, my apologies for dragging you in early, but like I said, again, welcome to the booth. Congratulations on your P3 finish. Tell us how it went out there.
It went really good. I made an early mistake. I also haven't had a lot of practice on this track, so I was just coming out here having fun. I made an early mistake and got behind two of the other cars who were faster than me in the straightaways, so I went for the undercut and was just glad it worked.
Yeah.
I was just trying to stay consistent.
Whoops. Well, he's cut out a little bit. I would assume it's internet issues.
I unplugged my mic.
Ah, that would also do it.
Yeah, my tires started giving out, and the other two were chasing me down, so I just started trying to stay consistent, gain where I could and not lose in other places.
Yeah, so if I remember correctly, you had been battling with Cliff Hemian for P2 for a good chunk of the second half of the race, like the last third of the race. You ended a little bit behind him, so was that just you losing that consistency, or did you decide to back off just to make sure that you didn't make any mistakes that would let you fall further?
Honestly, I made a mistake and lost a bit of control, and then he pulled away, and yeah, so it was more consistency, and I kept making mistakes.
Fair enough. But yeah, either way, great race, great finish for silver drivers. I'm certain that a lot of your silver compatriots probably think you should be gold at this point, but yeah, either way, great race.
I'm just happy. I like this track.
Yeah, so 2 final questions for you. So next race, we are at the Temple of Speed. We are going to Monza. How are you feeling for that race?
I'm feeling good. I'm hoping that I was able to pull enough points away to not have to worry about the faster cars there, because the McLaren's a little bit lacking there.
Yep, I definitely feel that. Yeah, I mean, I think you pulled away enough, because I know Emil Garcia finished a little bit lower down than they would have hoped. I think they were around P15 or so. So hopefully you've pulled out enough, but yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah. And then last question before we send you back down, is there anyone that you would like to give a shout out to?
I want to give a shout out to the winner, ironically, for his setup, because his setup was like really good, and it's what allowed me to drive like that. Sig. And that's really all.
I might have to ask you to send me the setup for tomorrow then. But either way, yeah, like I said, great race, great job keeping that P3. And wish you good luck next week.
And good luck to you tomorrow night.
Thank you. I will need it.
Sounds about right.
All right. So that was our P3 overall and silver leader. Next, if I can find him, I will be pulling up our P2 finisher and Cliff Hemian. Cliff, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. How's it going?
Good. How are you doing? I know it was a great race for you, P2 finish. Probably wanted to win, but go ahead and talk us through your race.
Oh, yeah, definitely wanted to win. I knew 6-9 pace was basically dead even. If he got ahead of me, I was not going to be able to nip away at that lead very much, and I got caught behind Hastings at the front, and I just got stuck about 6 seconds back from him.
Yeah, once you got past him, I was paying attention to the deltas, and you were staying a very consistent 6 seconds back from him. You did get fastest lap for a little bit, and then he took it right back like 5 laps later. So yeah, your pace was really close.
Yeah, I started picking away a little bit, but not enough to even make a real good dent to catch up to him.
Yeah, so when you were battling in that little train at the beginning of the race from like, I think it was P2 to P5 or so, were you just trying to make sure that you didn't have any wrecks, or were you full beansing it trying to get past?
Bit of A, bit of B on that one.
All right.
I wanted to stay close to Sig as fast as I possible to get up there with him. So
yeah. All right.
But
so
yeah, didn't want to die.
Fair enough. Yeah, I had been talking about that a little bit, how you were probably toward the end of the race when you were fighting with Hastings again, that while staying P2 was really important, not crashing was probably more important, because you are leading the championship still, I believe. So
very much so, very much so. I'm curious how the points line up right now, actually.
Yeah, I don't remember the points reference, because you were, I think, about 60 to 70 points. Actually, give me a second. I will pull up the standings.
Right.
So yeah, you had, before this race, you had a 78 point gap to Sig SVG, and they haven't updated yet. So I believe it's about a 20 point difference between P1 and P2. I could be mistaken. So you still do have the lead, but it is slimmer.
Technically the lead, but yeah, we're going into Monza dead even, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, speaking of Monza, how are you feeling for that race?
I'll let you know next week.
All right. Well, we will hope to see you up here then. Last question before I send you back down. Is there anyone that you would like to give a shout out to?
No, we're good. Thanks to the D5 guys for the exciting racing that I've had so far this season. And you guys keeping the commentary going. It's a blast.
All right. Yeah, well, again, thank you for joining us in the booth. Great race, and we hope to see you up here again next week.
Cheers, guys.
That was our P2 finisher in Cliff Hemian. An amazing race for him, and he is our current gold leader, but not by much. And then if I can find Sig SVG, there he is, I will go ahead and pull him up for an interview. Hello, Sig, and welcome to the booth. How are you doing?
Yeah. Doing really good. I think that was, second win. Probably my best race ever. Yeah, let's go with that. It's not like I have that many races in SRA though.
Yeah, you pulled away from the very beginning. Part of that was your teammate performing a little back action for you, but you were just completely out and away the fastest driver today. You were really close on time with Cliff Hemian, but once you got out in front of him, he was really never able to catch up that much.
Yeah, I noticed. Which is good. I was able to maybe make a slight dent in the championship disparity between me and him, as we're second and first in the championship. Never say never. It is still a pretty big gap I'll have to overcome next week, but I gave myself just a little bit more chance to try and take the championship next week.
Yeah, you had been about 80 points ahead, or he had been about 80 points ahead of you. I think it's now down to around 50 or 60, not 100% sure. But
okay.
Yeah, but how are you feeling for the next race? Because I know that Monza, like, it's the temple of speed, and the McLaren does not have straight line speed.
Yeah. Well, I'm actually pretty confident heading into Monza. Before I joined SRA, I was a public lobby rat, so I've driven that track. Probably the most of anyone in D5, I would guess. Maybe not, but then again, if any of those guys were also public lobby rats, they know that track inside and out,
Yeah, it'll be fun to watch. Hopefully we don't have the public lobby turn one. I'm hoping for a little bit more.
Please no.
Yeah, I'm hoping for a little bit more racing etiquette there. And D5 has been really good at lap ones for the most part, so hopefully it stays that way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I already asked you about how you feel about Monza, and you said you're really confident. So the only other question that I have for you is there anyone that you would like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, I think I have a lot today. You might have to bear with me for a bit. But yeah, let's see. Shout out to my American friends, Jared, Ethan, Bjorn. I'm running out of names. Jared, did I mention Jared? I think I did. Anyways, and then shout out to my Aruban friends watching the stream as well. Alec, Jillion, Brandon, if he's watching. Faye, just a bunch of people. But if I didn't mention you, sorry. I'm kind of hyped as fuck right now. And finally, shout out to the Aruba Little League baseball team. We made it to the international final of the Little League World Series this year, the furthest we've ever been. The Taiwan, the eventual champions. They only beat us by 1 run, so at least I can hold on to that as well. Shout out to the Little League baseball team, and also shout out to my teammate. He had such misfortune in Hungary with the disconnect, with his wheel disconnecting as he was in P2. And today, honestly, really belonged to him. He also helped me with my lap. I honestly should also credit my pole to him because he helped me in the S's by giving me a bit more pointers with the second corner. And I was able to find some time there. And considering I qualified I got pole by only 0.025.
Yeah.
I think that made the difference, honestly.
Yeah, I was talking about it whenever we were going through qualifying. You and your the top 3 were separated by 0.08 of a second, so 0.08. I think it was like 0.085 seconds. So it was a really close battle out front. And then your teammate did a really good job behind you. He got into P2 at the start and was able to help back up the guys for you. Of course, not intentionally. I don't want to start any controversy, but it definitely helps.
No, I think they were definitely racing hard. It's not like I would say intentionally would be like, I don't know, if he like came out the pits and just started beating the guy, but he didn't. He was driving hard, and yeah, that's honestly what Hastings is pretty good at. He's a pretty fast driver, and I think with his podium today, he took the lead in the silver championship as well. Great stuff from him. But he has a long road ahead of him considering the P2 car, at least before the start of today's race. The P2 car is a Mustang, and you know how Monza is. So
yeah, that I do. He had a 1-point lead in the championship going into the race. I believe he has the P2 in the silver championship was Emil Garcia. They finished around P15, P13, so he definitely has a lead going into the next race. But we will have to see how it all turns out.
Absolutely. That is going to be... Monza is going to be so much fun. And yeah, hopefully I can clinch the championship there, but we'll see. Hamyon's been insanely consistent. We both got 0 points in the first race I saw, and then ever since then he finished top 5 or top 6. I think every single race. I haven't had that type of consistency,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he's really a formidable guy. He's really quick and he's really consistent.
Yeah. So, you have anything else that you would like to share? I know you had your laundry list of shout outs, but
no, I think that's it. I guess shout out to everyone watching. I guess shout out to let me see, what's his name? Travis Fletcher, Artie Thompson, and Sean Paul. Was it Sean Paul? Yeah, and Sean Paul. We have another chat. We challenge each other, and just talk to each other. Also, shout out to them as well.
All right. Well, again, thank you. You had an amazing race today, and we will hope to see another amazing performance next week.
Yeah.
All right. I will go ahead and send you back down.
Thank you, sir.
All right. So that was our winner, Sig SVG. He did an amazing job today, as did all of our drivers, even those with technical issues. I know that Jacobs thankfully didn't have any issues, and Hastings didn't have any issues. There were some other drivers who did have connection issues or technical issues, unfortunately. But overall, really good race, I think. And we will have to see how the championship turns out next week, because while the silver championship does have a gap, Bulls have, give me a second. I will see if the driver standings page is updated. It is not. So yeah, like I was saying, SIG SVG with that win, Cliff Hemian P2. That gap has fallen down just a little bit, but it will not. It's essentially a dead even heat going into the next race. Speaking of the next race, like I said, we will be at Monza next week. It'll be a lot of fun, so make sure to tune into that. We also have 2 other races that happened today. So we had D3, which raced here on YouTube. So right after you're done watching this race, or this stream, you can go watch the replay of D5. Or D3, sorry. You could also watch D5 if you want to, again. And then later this week, whenever the VOD is uploaded to YouTube, you can watch D1, or you can go watch them live on Twitch whenever they race. Again, same time, same channel. You can have 3 streams pulled up, why not? And then tomorrow, we will have D2 on Twitch, and then D4 and D6 on YouTube. SIG SVG will be commentating one of those. I believe it's D6. And I'm sure he would love your support there, as would all the drivers. And then I will be racing in D4, so if you want to come watch me, go right ahead. But other than that, we will see you guys next week at Monza for the grand finale at the Temple of Speed. So thank you guys for watching, and we will see you all again next week.